Hello everyone, I hope you are doing great in your lives. So today I've made this video to talk about the feeling of not being good enough. The feeling of not being good enough as a son, as a daughter, as a girlfriend, as a boyfriend, as a mother, as a father, as anyone in any relationship. We all have this feeling of giving our 100% to any relationship we are in, and whenever we get to hear that you are not good enough for this relationship, or there is something that is not perfect about you, since we all have the need to keep up with that relationship and to sustain through it, we all try to keep on giving and putting in our efforts to try to make it perfect and try to be enough for that person or for that relationship, and give up and give out our 100% to make the other person happy or feel complete, or our to have our 100% contribution to make the relationship come out to be perfect. In this, many a times there are futile attempts as to we try to make it 100% right, but the person just doesn't feel that it is right, and keeps on lashing us about how we are not good enough for that relationship, and how we are just not making out efforts to make it come out to be good. And we all know that this feeling is not really nice, because from our end we know how much we have put into it to make it work, and still if this is the kind of feedback that we receive, definitely we feel hurt, and we try our 100% to make it work. This happens most of the times in marriages, and in romantic relationships. For that matter, it could happen in any relationship, but it's usually in any relationship in which involves a lot of love and a lot of connection, because we just don't want to lose onto the other person. So I feel that all of us, spend our entire lives in trying to make it all work and make it all look perfect. But in this process, we tend to kind of not understand that the feeling of not being good enough was never for that relationship, or was never to make that relationship work. It was not a kind of comment that was given to you for you not being 100%, but it was a kind of indication that the person himself was, through his or her struggles, to identify being enough or being complete within himself or herself. So since it is the pattern, or the ego trip that we all are born with, we tend to kind of project it onto others as to you are not being complete, or you are not being good enough. So it took us, rather it took me many years to kind of figure it out, that it definitely is not about me to not who was not being enough, but it was probably the other people who were not being enough, and were trying to figure out what their journey was like. And in this process, whenever we try to overput ourselves, we tend to lose onto a lot of self-respect, a lot of integrity, a lot of self-esteem, and we hurt ourselves and choose others before us. So I feel it takes in a lot of courage to stand up and to say that, yeah, I'm sorry for hurting myself for whatever I did for so long, and for not choosing myself all these years, and considering other person important, or other relationship important than mine with myself. So it's never about you not being good enough for anyone. It's always about you being enough, or you being you for yourself first. So whenever in any relationship, you there comes a spot where you realize that you've started to consider or to put someone else ahead of you, ahead of your needs, ahead of your wants, and ahead of your desires. It is the strongest indicator that you realize that it is coming from this phase where you're feeling that you're not being enough, or from your fear of trying to want to keep that relationship alive just because you don't want to lose onto it. But it also shows that the moment there's a stark reality underlining it. Like whenever you try to put in your 100% into a relationship with the fear of wanting or knowing that it is going to lose from you if not worked on, it is an indicator that it is already being slipped off from your hand, and the moment you back off it is going to be collapsed. So is such relationship worth putting your efforts into and choosing that relationship over hurting yourself and being into all of this toxic phase? It's time that we choose ourselves and be enough, and we be us for ourselves and choose us and our needs over anything else. Because if your relationship with yourself doesn't go right, it is never going to go right for anyone. So it's time to fill our cups first so that we can serve others. Thank you.